Hello, welcome to Ephemera Files by Tommy, and let's hope that the third time is the charm. This is my third attempt at making this video sharing how I make tassels with the We Are Memory Keepers tear rulers, the tear guide. And I don't know what it is. I think maybe my phone doesn't like tassels. I don't know. So I'm going to try and keep this as simple as I can and make it as short as I can, and maybe it won't hate my video so much. So let's go. The We Are Memory Keepers tear rulers. They have two sides on them that have shapes, and they have this center section split, and that is a part of how you will tear your papers. It comes with a water marker, which this is a water brush. It's not the correct thing. But when you use it, you will go like this along the edge of your tear ruler on your paper, wetting it down, and then you can tear it. Now, this water brush probably makes too wide of a mark. If you wanted to have a more rough-edged look, then it would probably be fine. But it also has, like I said, this center section here. And you know, I'm not real good at reading instructions, but I think I figured out why it's there. I think it's there so you can put your paper through it, and then not only are you holding here while you're tearing, but you're also holding it here, the paper steady, so the paper doesn't slip and slide and move around like it might if you were only holding the ruler down. And then you do your little water trick and you can tear. Now this paper actually tears decently with not having the water, so I can just use that as an example. It's not perfect, but I can still use that again elsewhere. Now, it comes in these three different shapes. It's got these angle shapes in two sizes. And it's got the deckled edge in two sizes. I don't know if this, I know this one's a deckle edge. I don't know if this one has a different name or not, but see how it's much deeper points. I don't want to use either of those when I'm using these to make my tassels. I prefer to use the round ones. And this is how I use the tear rulers to make a tassel. If I were not trying to make a video, then I would do some of these steps differently. But the first thing that I do is not do that. I pick out all of my fibers and strings and laces and ribbons that go with the project that I am wanting to do. For example, this is a project I'm working on right now, and all of these go with it very well. So I am going to choose from that pile and create my tassel. This mat that I have here taped on my studio table measures 17 inches this way and 12 inches this way, which gives me a very quick and easy guide to cutting lengths for my fibers and strings that I'm going to use. I may be trying to go a little fast. Like I said, I'm wanting to make sure that this video actually takes. Right now, I am looking for the ribbon that I just had in my hand that I'm going to use to, well, maybe I'll just choose something else because I'm not seeing it. What happened to that? There it is. There it is. Got it. Okay. Here is one of the secrets to using this tear ruler. This end has a hole, and I'm sure that that hole is for hanging for organization purposes, but I also use it in making my tassels. I thread my ribbon that I'm going to use to tie the head of the tassel together. I thread that through there and bring both ends up. Now, like I said, I'm using this cutting board here to give me the clearance that I need. Normally, I would just have this hanging off the edge of my desk, and I would have this here. I would have this taped to my desk. So just for videos purposes, I am doing this. If you do not have a desk where you can work that gives you that clearance, find something to prop it up on and it'll work just as well. And here is the trick. I take the fibers that I want to use in my tassel, and this slit right here is where I feed them through. And I push them up. I'm not trying to get it perfectly even on either side. I like to have a little bit of difference in the depth. That'll give my tassel a little more texture and a little more interest. And making sure that I'm always feeding from the same side, whether I'm feeding from the top on the left and going to the right, or from the top on the right and going to the left. I just need to make sure that I am going in the same direction each time. And I will continue feeding through here. I try to make sure that I don't have ribbon next to ribbon, or fabric next to fabric, or yarn next to yarn. I do make sure that my edges are finished off if at all possible. Yarns I tie since they're a fiber and they like to become unwound. Ribbons, depending on what they're made of, I will sometimes sear the ends of them in a candle. The tulle doesn't need any kind of finishing because it just does not fray. And it adds a really cool, fun texture and fluffiness to your tassel. Sometimes you may have a yarn that's especially fluffy, or that is a specialty yarn like this one that I'm trying to get untangled. With all of my tossing around, I've not done myself any justice. That's not going to feed through this very well. So I set those aside until the end. And then I'll show you what to do with them. So I am going to put you on fast forward so you don't have to watch me feeding all this through. And then when I come back, I will show you how to finish off making the tassel with the tear ruler. And remember that this tear ruler is somewhat flexible. I mean, don't go trying to do that, but you can push down and push up and it makes, my finger even fits through there. And so that will help get some of your pieces through, especially if, like for this, it's kind of a big knot. It makes it easier to feed that knot through, but it's also thin enough that as you push things up to the top, as you would like in a loom or something like that, it helps hold them together and holds them in place so they're not going willy-nilly. So I am going to put you on fast forward, and then when I get the rest of my fibers on here that I want for this particular tassel, I will show you how to finish it off. Okay, I think that that's enough for this tassel that I am making. Just looking through, making sure that there's not a little something that I don't want to add. I think I want to add. I think I want just a little more orange in it. So I'm going to add that one real quick and push it up there. Now, this is the point. You see how it's holding everything all nice and tight together. I got a feeling I'll be trimming that one off, but since I'm not sure, I'm not going to do it just yet. I will pull it that way some, so if I do decide to trim it, it'll just be trimming off one end and not two. This is the point where if you've got the fluffy stuff, you want to go ahead and add it, and all you have to do is lay it across. It sounds weird, but yes, that's all you have to do, because our next step will get it in there. We're going to remove the tape that's holding it down. And holding on to the ribbon that's coming through the top, we're going to, this is the hard part to describe, we're going to go underneath all of these ribbons, make sure you get underneath all of them, and grab this part of the ribbon that's underneath and pull it. And then you are going to feed it up through that slot where you've been feeding everything else down. Now, I can show you what we just did on the back side. Okay. See, I brought that down here and fed it up through there. And now, if I can get it to... You don't usually do all that flipping and flopping when you're making it yourself, so you have to give me a moment. I can move this out of the way. That'll help. I'll at least put it there. Now you are going to take this ribbon out of the hole and feed it up through that slot as well. And at this point, you can tie your first knot. And no, you're not tying it into the ruler. You're just tying your first knot. Now, you're going to pull that apart gently, and all of your ribbons and such will come through, except for the tool may grab because it is just grabby stuff, okay? Now, you've got your knot. You want to tie that tight. Make a square knot, a granny knot, a surgeon's knot, whatever it is that makes you happy, that you feel like it is going to be a good tight knot. And then that ribbon that you just used becomes part of your tassel. So this is what we have thus far. We have a couple of long ones that I'll have to do something with after I decide exactly what I'm doing. Now, sometimes I will flip this back over and across itself, and that may not be the best wording, but I will flip it across to where it was, and I will tie it again. See, there's the ribbon that we just fed through as our tie, and I'll tie it again on that side, just to make sure that I've got it good and tight and snug, and that my pieces aren't going to go anywhere. My fabrics and fibers and threads and yarns and such. Okay? And then I'll give it a good shake just to calm everything down. Now, you may need to do some adjusting if you've got the big fluffy pom-pom type fabric like that, just to get the pom-poms out of the way for this next step. Okay. Right now I'm just using these for handles. They will go down and be a part of the tassel. Okay. Now, when I use wired ribbon, I rarely use it as wired ribbon. I take the wire out. Sorry, I'm having to reach up here. And I'll twist it around my fingers and just keep it like that, store it like that. It's a very, very, very tiny gauge. I don't know any, I don't know, have any idea what gauge that would be, but you see how thin that is. It's perfect for this. I'm going to do a little more rearranging because I don't think that I wanted that denim on the top. I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened. And so you can kind of rearrange your ribbons by pulling them opposite ways. You'll get one out from under another, and then you can pull it back over it. And see, I like that ribbon on top of the denim much better. All right, so we are going to pinch where that knot was, pinch that ribbon, and we're going to come down like that and create a head for our tassel. Take the wire. Now, if you don't have wire from wire ribbon, you can use jewelry making wire. You can use a twist tie. That works well, and people usually have those on hand. I take it and I put it about 1 inch down, and then I twist the ends only once or twice because I want to be able to tighten them down, and if I do it too many times, I won't be able to tighten it down. Okay, see how I did that? And now I'm going to just flip it a few more times around. You can also hold the wires in your hands and do this just to get that nice and knotted, okay? And then I split the wires and go to the other side of that head and do the same thing again. I hold my wires, let's see which way have I got them, and I flip until it's nice and tight and taut up against that head. The neck that we're forming is this wire, and you want it to be nice and tight to give it some form, okay? Now at this point, I usually wrap it around a few times. You don't have to. You can go ahead and just clip it off. We're getting ready to cover it, so you don't have to worry about it too much, okay? See, I've just got it right there, and I pinch it under and it stays. Now, I have set to the side, hopefully, yes, the yarn that I want to use to tie around the neck. And I use a pretty one because it's going to be a decoration around the neck, and it's going to come down and form part of the tassel. Finding about the halfway point, and you can use yarn, you can use a ribbon, you can use a piece of fabric, all different kinds of things. Finding the halfway point, I place that on the back of the neck, holding this side between my finger and my thumb. I will wrap 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. It depends on how long you want this tassel to be. And then do the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see if your wire is all covered up or not. If it's not, tuck your wire down in, pull the yarn up. Just make sure that you've got it all covered, because you don't want it to come out and poke somebody, and it's really not usually pretty. So, and sometimes it takes a little fussing around with it, and sometimes it'll take a snip. You'll just have to cut it off, okay? Sometimes that's just what happens. So now you're just going to take and tie a knot. See, I've got that little piece of wire that just wants to hang out. Tie a really tight knot, and then tie your square knot, your surgeon's knot, your granny's knot, whichever it is that you like. And that becomes part of your tassel. See how it looks right in there? Now, to finish it off up here at the top, I take one of these bulb pins, and I just find that ribbon or fabric or whatever I used to tie the piece together in the first place. I take that right through there, and it is ready to put onto your book, your bag, your journal, your whatever, your bicycle handles, I don't know. At this point, you can add charms and such if you would like I I have this penny that has a star punched in the middle of it, and I don't know where that came from, but I really like it. So I think I'm just going to put it on here because one of the colors in my current project is a rose gold. And so I'm just going to feed that around. Let's go with the point up through Lincoln's head. And just like that, I've got a nice little dangle. I also have these feathers that I got that were 3 in a package, and they were on clearance at Hobby Lobby for 74 cents. So I grabbed all of them that they had at my store because I knew I could use them and I didn't want them to go to waste. Okay. You see the loop right there? I pulled the last one out. So I'm going to do it again and be a little more gentle this time. You may want to add some extra glue if you are using a feather that has a loop on it, or use some other form of strengthening that attachment, whatever that may be. Okay, so there I've got a couple of different items. I have, let's see, what was the, I had something else that I was going to put on here. Oh, here. These are Happy Planner rings, and I think that they are adorable just by themselves, and I tend to use them as accents in a lot of my projects because I don't have that many Happy Planners. Well, I might, but I'm not telling you. And so I'll just tie that onto this ribbon. All right, here we go. And so we'll tie this into a bow. And I will come back and put a little dab of glue on that bow to keep it a bow. And then I have this, it's a little piece of fabric in a little piece of paper, excuse me, in a metal frame. I think that they were handmade by somebody. I got a whole bunch of them in a Happy Mail. And we'll just do that, and we've got a double dangle with the hearts, and I think that that is adorable. And you can add whatever you like to your tassel. This you can clip onto a bulldog clip. You can clip it onto one of the Tim Holtz. Well, he's not the only one. You can add brads to these. I don't know what this is called. It's this piece right here that you can put through an eyelet, and then it has this little loop. It looks like a door knocker. I think it looks like a door knocker. You can use brads. I put brads sometimes on my tassels. Let's see. I have a bunch of brads. Let's see if I can find one that... Here we go. I kind of like this. Number 8. And you just stick it through there. Just stick it right through the ribbon or the fabric or whatever, and tighten your legs down. And I think it's really cute. And that is how I make my tear ruler tassels. I think it makes it a whole lot easier for me because I don't have to have all these hands trying to hold things together. This does a very good job of holding it all together for me. And when I don't have it all together, I'm even more of a hot mess than usual. So, thank you for joining me today. Hopefully this video goes through. I hope that you are actually getting to watch it right now. And I would remind you to be kind, always. Bye, everybody. Bye.